Good afternoon. Just driving through central Minnesota, seeing all these snurty ditches. A little bit of black dirt blowing around here the last couple months, and we got lots of black snow. And it makes me wonder, when are we going to start taking care of all this stuff? You know, we see an average throughout the Corn Belt. I believe the last number I saw was 5.3 tons of topsoil lost per acre per year. We're going to continue to let that happen, and who's gonna make it stop? I can tell you, for one, there will be some farmers that will begin to do this. There will be some farmers that will incorporate no-till and cover crops or reduce till and cover crops, and they're going to make an effort to reduce erosion. There's getting to be more and more. We just had a great meeting here this last week where we had, I believe, it was 98 people, 98 farms, not necessarily 98 separate farms, but there was probably well over 70 farms represented in central Minnesota that showed up and wanted to learn more about how they could incorporate these soil health principles on their own operations. So there is definitely going to be some operations that are going to do it. But if we really want to get things rolling, if we really want to start working on this and doing it on a large scale, it's got to be up to the landowners. The landowners have got to make the decision. And I think we forget that landowner, that person that owns the land. I don't care if it's a retired farmer that just moved into town, or if it's an absentee landowner that lives in California. They should all want to take care of the long-term benefits of their land, the long-term prospects. You got to look at, what's my land going to be valued at 20, 30, 40 years from now? I can tell you, if we can continue to lose the topsoil at the rates that we're losing it today, this land is not going to have the value. I was in a shop yesterday. We're looking, there's a picture there of a perfectly manicured black field with a planter running through it. And I can tell you, that field did not look very black. There was lots of brown, lots of gray, very little black through that field. And this is an area where they pride themselves on how good their farmland is. I asked the question, do you think it's always been that brown and gray? And they hadn't noticed that it was brown and gray until I brought it up. I said, I really believe that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you know, that land's probably been farmed for 100 years. It was most likely a lot blacker at one point in time. But what they've done to that soil over time, and I'm not saying it was wrong, because that's all we knew how to do. It was, they were very good farmers. I could tell they truly cared, and they were starting to look into some of this stuff. So I mean, they want to figure it out. But we got to do something different, folks, and it is up to the landowner to make that call. As a landowner, you can decide if you want your land farmed in a certain manner. You do not have to let the farm be farmed just because that's how your current tenant does it. You don't have to switch tenants. You don't have to switch farmers. You can have the same guy do it. You just explain to him how you want it done. If you want to see a little less tillage go on, if you want to see some cover crops go on, there's getting to be more and more of some cover crop rules and some tillage rules written in to lease contracts. I can tell you that the fact that we have a lot of rented ground throughout the Corn Belt is part of the reason why we're more worried about short-term gains as opposed to long-term benefits. And until the landowner takes charge, it's going to be really, really hard to see more of these soil health practices implemented. Now, I can guarantee you that when cover crops and reduced till and minimum till or no till does start to take shape, the farm will become more profitable. You start lowering your inputs. You're going to not only see less fuel usage, but you'll see less herbicide use. You should be cycling a lot more nutrients, so you should actually be able to start decreasing on nutrient inputs, maybe even decreasing on some of the traits. I definitely think you can do that. I know you can, actually. So there's a lot of benefits to taking care of that soil. So the farm will make more money when it's done properly. So there's really not a negative aspect. Now, we've all heard about that. Oh, I don't want to plant a cover crop because I heard somebody got a yield drag after such and such cover crop. Well, most likely it was the wrong cover crop ahead of the wrong cash crop, and it was mismanaged. That's usually what happens. Usually it's not a weather issue or a cover crop issue. It's the type of cover crop. You know, I know there's well over 80. There's probably over 100 different potential cover crop seeds, varieties, different plants, different species. They're not all meant to be that cover crop ahead of a one crop. They've all got their place. They all fit in. There's not necessarily one that's better or worse than the other. It all depends on location and timing and when you can get stuff planted. But anyways, you can do stuff right. And as a landowner, you can demand that your land gets farmed differently. You can take care of it. It is up to you. If you own land and you complain about black ditches, take charge. Take charge today. There's absolutely no reason to continue to walk blind and be quiet about it. We need to start taking care of our land. We need to start building soil instead of losing soil to wind and water erosion. We can fix it. There's a lot of people that are starting to, but if we really want to speed this process up, it's time for you to take charge. If you've got any more questions, would like help on implementing cover crops and reduced tillage practices on your operation, on your own farming operation, or on your land that you own, if you'd like some help with working with your tenants, you know, we do some of that. We do lots of that. So however you want help, we can probably help you on a different basis. So please look us up. Look up soilrx.net, and you know, we'd be happy to work with you, happy to help you out. Hit subscribe, like the page or like the video if you can, and we'll keep stuff coming. I know I've been doing a lot of other videos based on livestock stuff, but this is a cover crops channel. We got more cover crop stuff coming up. So just dead of the winter and all we see right now is snert everywhere. So we're trying to stop that. You guys have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.